Um, I have wanted to do this video because of a video that Seven Serpents did. Um, Here it is here. It's called the Asianism Uatsdin. But something that he referred to in there in that video, and I've put the link down below, uh, was talking about, he talked about the Sumerian bags. So, in case you're not familiar with what the Sumerian bags are, here is a video. What's inside the Sumerian bag? It's the little bags, but they're, as Seven pointed out, they're throughout many cultures and many ancient cultures. The same bag appears. It's whatever they're holding. People have thought, and maybe it's some kind of energy bag, air bag for ancient aliens, all kinds of crazy stuff. But here's what happened to me, and all I can do is show you guys my process because this is like how it works for me. So I've really been working on doing a video about time because time has been on my radar for quite some time. Missing time, altering time, um, uh, you know, whether or not you can travel in time. I think this has all been happening. It's all very possible. Manipulations of time. It's happening. It's going on. It's been going on, but whatever. I've been working. It's been on my radar again lately. But something happened when I watched Seven's video, and all of a sudden I just started writing. And here's what I wrote: holding time. Time in a bottle, genie in a bottle, 3 wishes, 3 worlds, 3 cauldrons, holding the third dimension, 33, 3D. I dream of genie. I'm a genie in a bottle. Sirius opening portals. Blah blah blah. So that was my process, and so from there, the next day, I think it was, I ended up coming across this video here. No, this is the one that Seven posted. I actually came across this video. No, maybe it was this one first. So after writing down genie in a bottle, okay, in this video, he talks about the kings and so let's just hear briefly what he's talking about here, because I can only play a minute, otherwise I'm probably going to get a copyright, but let's hope not. Let's hear what he says. Okay, so he talks about priests, kings, in the study that Seven Serpents has been doing. I definitely see a connection with the lost tribe of Dan, with the Tartarian, with the Asians. There's something about these peoples where they had an upper hand on knowledge. So when I started thinking about time again, I thought of the Sumerian's Kings list. If you're not familiar with that, the Sumerian Kings list is pretty amazing list, and in the Sumerian tablets. And in this Kings list, what's really fascinating to me is that these various kings ruled for 28,800 years, 26,000 years, 43,000 years. I mean, these are a lot of freaking years. How did this one king rule for that many years? Well, and I mean, we could talk about, well, are years the same to us now as they were to them then? There's something about time, holding time. And I think that these bags might have something to do with that. or at least symbolically, that they've raised themselves into a level of knowledge where they are able to reverse aging, manipulate time, travel in time. I don't know. But I think that these bags have something to do with time. Now, again, guys, this is just my process, okay? It's the way it happens. I can't make sense of it all. Maybe somebody out there has it. This will like ring in someone else's mind, and they'll say, "Oh, okay, well, this is kind of making sense to me as well." The reason I brought up genies, okay, I don't know why genies in a bottle is so okay. So let's just talk about what this guy says in this video, because he talks about the Essenes. Let's hear what he has to say, okay? In this, everything is about to change. Oh, and I put the link to this video down below. Great video. I would suggest anybody watch it. This one is definitely an inspirational video, but I'm wondering if something about this holding to based on what he says. Let's just hear what he says first. Okay. So that right there, again, is this a symbol of these bags that they're holding, that they have reached this level? And because they've reached this level, are they able to hold time? Are they able to move mountains? Are they able to do these things? So I just did some other, searching around. Again, this is my process, guys. So I wanted to know what the Essene are. Now, the spelling that Seven gives here, Asian, I don't know if it's the same as the Essene, but again, I'm just connecting dots. As best I know how. The Essene, a member of a Jewish sect, the modest ones, the silent ones. Well, I think we can all agree that this has been occulted knowledge that was very much against any power structure, which is why this knowledge has been wiped off the face of the earth time and time again. Okay. Then there's it says here that plural absolute state of haze pious. So I wanted to look up pious. Pious is dutiful, devout, conscientious, religious, faithful to kindred, inspired by friendship, prompted by natural affections, pure, clean. So again, Seven Serpents has been talking about purity. The alchemy is all about purifying ourselves, so that we can elevate to a higher state of awareness, higher state of being. Um, then I wanted to look at, because again, genie in a bottle. Now, bottle in if you go back and watch this video, no, this one here, he talks about how this and how this representation has evolved into some religion, and we've heard about we know what a wine sack is. In the Bible it talks about the wine sack. I think it's really interesting that, okay, so does it hold water? Now, is it purified into wine? Does it go through the whatever process that is, that fermenting, okay, that wine has to go through? Is kind of like a purification process, the fermentation process. Just stick with me, guys. We're getting somewhere here. Anyway, he talks about, and I think it's really interesting that one of the Mandela effects that people have caught on to in the Bible is where they changed the verbiage in the King James version. They took out wine sack and replaced it with bottle. Um, and it's very interesting. It's just in the King James version because I have a much newer version. It's my Bible that I had gotten for my daughter when she was born. Uh, it's the Living Bible version. But it still says wine sacks in that version. But in the King James version, it says bottle, and they didn't even have bottles back then. So what the heck? I don't know. So let's just keep on going here. So I wanted to know more about like genie. What's up with a genie? Well, a genie from the 1650s is a tutelary spirit. Okay, a tutelary spirit. There we go with the toot again. Tutarian. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to connect too many dots, but they've got the whole verbiage thing all screwed up. But I thought it was interesting. A tutelary spirit. What does tutelary mean? Tutelary means a guardian, protection, watcher. So I find this very fascinating as well. I mean, if these are like genies, priest class, protectors, guardians of some kind of knowledge, I don't know. So I decided at this point, this was happened yesterday as I'm trying to put all this together in some kind of coherent fashion. Of course, I wanted to see if Samuel Arnoir had anything to say about genies. I don't know why. And of course, the way that it works for me, I just opened the book and started reading. Fascinating thing is, of course, where I started reading is where he talks about genies. I didn't know he talked about genies, but he talks about genies. So here is an image in this particular chapter. Let's see if I can raise it up a little bit. Where he talks about the genies. This chapter, let me see if I can move it around. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully you can sort of see it. The particular chapter that I happened to open it up to was Arcanum 9. So I'm going to read the whole chapter, but let's see what he has to say about genies in here. The ninth key represents old Saturn falling and the goddess Moon victoriously rising. Saturn is the lead and the Moon is the silver. The terrestrial atom, the psychological I, must fall and die so that the atom Christ can be born within us. We need to transmute the lead to gold into gold. The lead of our personality must be transmuted into the gold of the spirit. Oh, by the way, this is reading from Samuel Arnoir, Alchemy and Kabbalah in the Tarot, the keys for radical spiritual transformation. I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of that to put up, but anyway. The moon, Mercury, and Sophic, the ens seminis, must rise and return inwardly and upwardly. To disincarnate signifies to perpetuate error. The psychological I, the terrestrial atom, is born millions of times. It incarnates in order to satisfy desires. The terrestrial births are the perpetuation of ignorance. To be born in spirit and in truth signifies death for the terrestrial atom. The atom Christ is born from the seed. The grain, the seed, needs thelema, willpower, in order for the Superman to heroically germinate. The birth of the Superman is not the outcome of evolution. The Superman does not need to evolve to attain perfection as is assumed by many students of occultism. Evolution is simply the movement of the universal life according to the concepts of time, space, and movement. Here we go. We're talking about time, space, and movement. Holding time. And that's my little 2 cents there. But I thought it was fascinating. All possibilities are contained within the evolving nature. Thus, many become very good and others very bad. Nonetheless, the Superman is not the result of any sort of evolution, but the outcome of a tremendous revolution of the consciousness. Adam Christ is as different from the terrestrial Adam as lightning is from a black cloud. Lightning is born from a cloud, yet it is not a cloud. Lightning is like the Superman, while the cloud is like the man. To be born is a sexual problem. The path is sexual transmutation. The rectangle appears in the ninth key. This represents the four elements of alchemy. By carefully studying this rectangle, we discover a double circle that wisely symbolizes the mercurial matter with its two properties, generation and regeneration. The double circle contains three serpents that emerge from three hearts. Indeed, we need to work with mercury, sulfur, and salt in order to lift the metallic serpent upon the pole. The Adam Christ is born in us only by working with the prima matter, mercury, sulfur, and salt. The phoenix bird that is born from its own ashes stands upon the double circle of mercurial matter. We need to become imitators of this mythological bird. However, this is only possible when we work with the seed. The eagle of volatility is the terrestrial atom that is dominated by the crow of putrefaction. The goddess moon carries upon her head a white swan. Okay, so this is where I don't know, we might be going into this. This is the actual ninth arcanum, the hermit. The goddess moon, sorry, you can't see it very well. The goddess moon carries upon her head a white swan. We must whiten the crow with sexual transmutation upon transforming it into the immaculate swan of ascension. The entire symbolism of the great work is enclosed within the ninth key. No one can work with the Sephirithic tree without being an alchemist and a Kabbalist. The wise men of the ninth arcanum must search for the treasury within the ninth sphere. It is necessary to study the explanatory statements, the principles and methods of the science of Kabbalah, and to work with the seed. Practice without theory cannot exist. The ninth sphere. An occultist sentence affirms that one can only depart through the same door that one has entered. We departed from Eden. Eden is sex itself. Therefore, only through the doors of sex can we enter into Eden. The fetus, after having accomplished its entire process of gestation, arrives at the moment when it must depart through the same door that its seed germ entered. This is the law. Okay, let me stop here really quickly because in this video here, there is, let's see if I can find it. He discusses that in association with these bags, okay, that are represented, and Seven also talks about this in his videos about this research that he's doing, are these goddesses that are birthing. Okay, so I think this is all very interesting. We're getting to the genie part in the book though, so let's continue. The physical body of the human being is the outcome of 9 months of gestation within the maternal womb. By means of philosophical analogies, we also deduce that the human species remains within the maternal womb of the divine cosmic mother Isis, Rhea, Cybele, Cybele, Mary, Adonia, Insobertha, Kali, etc., gestating for 9 months. In the authentic initiation, this return to the point of departure is nothing more than the descent into the ninth sphere, which is a test of action for the supreme dignity of the great Hierophant of Mysteries. And guys, I'm only understanding parts of all of this. I'm just following my flow of when things are revealed to me and somehow they're related. I would love, and I put the call out again. I would love somebody who is familiar with Samuel Armoire and alchemy and Kabbalah and tarot and alchemy to actually do a book study with me about this. This book I know has so much information intertwined in it, and I only understand so much, but I'm beginning to understand more and more. Sorry again for interrupting. Let's continue. Okay, the flame forge of Vulcan is found in the ninth sphere, Sex. There, Mars descends in order to retemper his flaming sword and conquer the heart of Venus, the Venustic initiation. Hercules descends in order to clean the stable of Augias, Augias, our animal depths. Perseus descends in order to cut off the head of Medusa, the psychological eye, or the terrestrial atom, with his flaming sword. All of the great masters of humanity, such as Hermes, Buddha, Jesus, Dante, Zoroaster, etc., had to pass through this utmost test. The following phrase is written upon the frightful threshold of the ninth sphere, which does not grant access to profaners. It says, Lasciate Agni speranza voi scientrete. Abandon hope, all you who enter here. The Zohar emphatically warns us that within the depths of the abyss lives the atom protoplastus, the differentiating principle of the souls. With this principle, we have to dispute victory to the death. This fight is terrible, brain against sex and sex against brain. And what is even more terrible and more painful is heart against heart. Resplendently, the sign of the infinite is within the heart of the earth, and the sign of the infinite is the Holy Eight. Now, here's where he talks about the genie. In this sign, the heart, brain, and sex of the genie of the earth are represented. The secret name of this genie is Chamgam. Now, I bet you Seven knows about Chamgam, and I would love to hear more about Chamgam, so maybe he can do a little video about Chamgam. The sign of the infinite is in the center of the ninth sphere. He's talking about this that I put up on the screen now. The sign of the infinite is in the center of the ninth sphere. The earth is 9 atomic stratums, and the sign of the infinite is found within the ninth stratum. The 9 initiates of minor mysteries gradually corresponds with each one of these 9 stratums. Each initiation of minor mysteries gives access to each one of these terrestrial stratums. Therefore, only the ones who have attained the 9 initiations of minor mysteries can reach the heart of the earth. Each terrestrial stratum is guarded by terrifying guardians. Secret paths lead the disciple towards the earth, the heart of the earth. The double vital current of the genie of the earth is represented in the sign of the infinite. The double vital current sustains and nourishes the entire planet Earth. Thus, we, all the living beings, are organized upon this divine archetype. A divine atom exists in the center of the sign of the infinite. The 9 spheres of atomic vibration are concentrically focused within this atom of the genie of the earth. The Holy Eight is resplendent with glory within the center of the earth. In the center of this Holy Eight, the central atom is found, which is where the 9 spheres of universal vibration are focused. This is the law. Kabbalistic traditions. Kabbalistic traditions tell us that Adam had 2 wives, Lilith and Nehema. It is stated that Lilith is the mother of abortion, homosexuality, and all crimes against nature in general. Nehema is the malignant and fatal and fatal beauty. Nehema is the mother of adultery and passionate fornication. Any marriage that is a violation of the law is easy to recognize because on the day of the wedding, the bride appears bald. Since hair is the symbol of chastity for the women, on wedding days the Nehema is it on wedding days of Nehema it is prohibited to display hair. Thus she instinctively covers her hair with the veil, if as if she is trying to conceal it. Thus the abyss is divided into two large infrasexual spheres. These are the spheres of Lilith and Nehema. The inhabitants of the sphere of Lilith do not have any hope for salvation, whereas the inhabitants of the sphere of Nehema still have hope for redemption. Sphere of Lilith. Here we find those who abhor sex, for example, monks, anchorites, mystics, spiritualists, people from different pseudo-esoteric organizations, etc. All types of infrasexual people hate sex and consider themselves to be highly superior to those of normal sexuality. All of the taboos, restrictions, and prejudices that currently condition the lives of people of normal sexuality were firmly established by the infrastructural people. Infrastructural people mortally hate the Arcanum AZF. Nevertheless, they give to themselves special credentials, and therefore it is not difficult to find homosexuality within many convents and schools that are dedicated to spiritualistic or pseudo-esoteric studies. Of all the crimes against nature are found in the infrasexual sphere of Lilith. Sphere of Nehema. Nehema seduces with the enchantment of her malignant beauty. Adultery is the outcome of this fatal enchantment. In the sphere of Nehema, we find the delectable cruelties from the kingdom of infrastructurality. In the atomic regions of the infrasexual sphere of Nehema live the Don Giovanni types of men, and Dona Ines are rather the beautiful heteris, sometimes sweet and sometimes cruel in others. If people from normal sexuality do not live alert and vigilant, they can convert themselves into fatal proselytes of these infrasexual people, since they garnish themselves as saints, apostles, anchorites, etc., and believe themselves to be superior. They can go and cheat the people of normal sexuality, converting them into their henchmen. Understand that people of normal sexuality are those who have no sexual conflicts of any kind. The sexual force of the people for normal sexuality is in perfect equilibrium with the spheres of thought, feeling, and will. These types of people do not abuse sex, nor do they have any type of sexual aberrations. The sphere of supersexuality is the sphere of internal illumination. Sexual enjoyment precedes the mystic ecstasy. Sexual sensations are transmuted into sensations of ineffable ecstasy. The human lifespan of mystical ecstasy is always preceded by the human lifespan of sexual enjoyment. Thus, the human lifespan of mystical ecstasy begins where the human lifespan of sexual enjoyment ends. After having attained the Venustic initiation, in other words, after the Adam Christ has been born within us, we must then extract the psychological egg from the rottenness of the matter and deliver it to the Son of Man, meaning to transplant the totality of the sexual energies to Adam Christ. This is how he becomes absolutely strong. The path is named transmutation and sexual sublimation. Whoever reaches these heights becomes a master of samadhi, Smadhi. The same energy that produces sexual sensations when it is transmuted, then produces mystical ecstasy. Christ, Buddha, Hermes, Quetzalcoatl, and many other avatars were suprasexual. The Forge of Vulcan. Sexual energy is divided into three distinct types. First, the energy having to do with the production of the species. Second, the energy having to do with the spheres of thought, feeling, and will. Third, the energy that is found related within the world of pure spirit. All of the processes related with sexual transmutation are possible because of the intervention of the vital body. This is the archeos, archeos, archaeous, that elaborates the blood and the semen in the human organism. This is Vulcan that transmutes the seminal liquor into Christic energy. The vital body is the vehicle of the soul consciousness in the human being. The consciousness is the flame, and the vital body is the wick. Vulcan exists within the microcosmos and within the macrocosmos, in the human being and in nature. The great Vulcan of nature is Eden, the ethereal plane. Cosmic rhythms. Any alchemist fledgling, after having been crowned, is leaving the sexual act little by little. The secret connubius becomes more and more distant according to the certain cosmic rhythms marked by the oriental gong. This is how the sexual energies are sublimated and transmuted in a conscious, continuous ecstasy. The alchemist fledgling that worked in the magisterium of fire in former reincarnations performs this laboratory work in a relatively short time. However, those who for the first time work in the great work need at least 20 years of intense work in order to enter into the second part, for another 20 years in order to slowly withdraw from the work of the laboratory, a total of 40 years in order to perform the entire work. However, when the alchemist fills the cup of Hermes, the fire of the furnace of his laboratory is extinguished and the entire work is lost. So yeah, that kind of got off into kind of something interesting there in that chapter, but I think somehow it relates to this imagery in some way. So with that's just kind of those pieces that I put together. Maybe it'll spark something within somebody out there. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Hopefully, I don't even know if anyone's watching, but whatever. It should be interesting to see what comes out of all that. And we'll see where my intuition kind of leads me next. You know, speaking of that, well, maybe I'll save it for another video. I know I have some kind of gift, guys, and it's manifests in whatever way it does. I kind of don't have much control over it. I wish I had more control over it. I feel as though I need more teaching about it and how it works. So I don't know. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I'm counting on that one. With that being said, I hope you all have a beautiful day. We'll talk again soon.